Hi, I'm Rachel McLeod. I am a licensed clinical social worker and emotional wellness coach. And I'm coming up with a new name for myself. So stand by. Um, it has something to do anyway, I'll tell you later when I figure it out. Okay, but I want to come on today and I want to talk about one reason you stay distracted when you want to make your dream happen so badly. And this is really, really a major challenge for people because they're like inside themselves wanting to do the dream and make this dream come true. A lot of times, this is a lifelong dream, and they watch their behaviors do something completely different. And one of those things that people do is they stay distracted. And you're like, what am I doing? Go, do it, make this happen. Like, literally, it's not that hard, you know? And it's really frustrated because even though it's not so hard, it's not happening. And it's really, really frustrating when you've got all the education for the dream. You've been doing all the reading, all the training. You've got all the expertise. You've got all you've done everything you can do. There's no apparent reason looking on the outside of this why you're not having this dream. You've lined yourself up perfectly for it, and there's nothing to it but to do it at this point, and nothing, right? You're distracted. You're on Facebook scrolling. You're um, diving into food. You are over exercising, over planning. You're just getting distracted with the details. Um, you're dropping everything to go, do things for other people instead of just finishing the tasks that are required for you to step into your dream and to realize and achieve it and make that dream happen. And when you watch this pattern for a little bit, you're like, okay, maybe I need a little bit of a break. And then a year goes by and another. And you find that you've had this one dream on your heart for maybe a decade or more, and it's just not happening. And we can go into how heartbreaking this is, because real talk, this is really, really heartbreaking, and it's frustrating, and you think something's wrong with you, and people around you are like, what, WTH or WTF, like, what is happening? You have everything and you're ready to go, and you're staying distracted. And it can really make you feel a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And I really, that's really why I want to talk about this one reason that that happens, because I want you not to stay stuck in the shame and guilt phases of that. As you explore this stuff, yes, there's going to be shame and guilt, but lots of grief that comes out of this process. That is important for you to get that emotion out so that you can get to your dream. But I really want you to understand what's happening in this cycle of staying distracted so that you can really address it properly. Lots of people try to address this problem by getting planners and filling out the planner in very, very detail and trying to stick to a plan, but they can't, because that is not the problem. And you're not addressing the problem where the problem is. And so I think if we shed light on the problem and show you what to do with that, then you can really start making steps forward. So, um, yeah. Let me see what else people do. People try to get accountability buddies, like, hey, we're going to get together and we're going to work on our dream together. And though you guys get together, it's still not happening. And that's because that accountability is not the solution, because it doesn't serve the part where this problem really generates from. And so let's dive into that, so that we can rock this out and you can get to your dream. Okay. Okay, distraction. I'm going to take you from the top, and I'm going to talk about this from a brain perspective. And I want to distraction is primarily a coping strategy, used to kind of put your brain on ice, right? You're on you're on Facebook scrolling mindlessly, because your brain needed to do that. It said, we need to put the brain on ice. So you're scrolling mindlessly, you're shopping, you're eating, you're doing those sorts of things that will put your brain on ice, to stop it from doing what it was doing. Also, to give you comfort and to start putting in some different emotion states and start triggering some gratification of some sort. Or, yeah, now this gratification is this whole can go anywhere because people are seeking positive gratification or gratification through more pain. And so we're not going down there today, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to stay with the process of distraction. So for some reason, you need to distract in order to cope. And so, and what that happens, what's going on there is I had this perfectly planned out in my mind. So I'm gonna translate this for you. Okay. So your brain, the distraction is serving as a survival function that you're going into. Your brain is kicking you in that because it needs to survive. It's getting overheated. It is you hit something that was painful, and I'm going to go into this. But something dangerous occurred, and your survival system, which can override every process in your body at any time, and it gets the authority to do that at any point. And once you go into survival state, you don't get options, you don't get choices of how you're going to handle it. You're just going to go. It's going to send you. It's going to say, hey, subconscious mind, go. Thinking center, go. Body, go. This is what we're doing. Send them over here. And because we need to stop this, we're not safe. Okay, so if that survival strategy is activated and your survival strategy is distraction, you're going to stay in there. And then as you come out, you're going to bump into whatever it was, and I'm going to explain whatever you're bumping into because we're kind of going backwards here. Whatever you bumped into, it's going to send you back to distraction, into this coping strategy. And so as you try to come back out, which is you want to get out of distraction back into the dream, back into creating the life that you want. But on your way out, you might bump into something else that triggers a survival response and you're back into distraction. And so, and this will happen and it's happening unconsciously. So the more you're distracting, the more you're bumping into that lets you know that you are bumping more into survival things, survival strategies, survival needs. And so if you're doing that, there's something happening that your survival system is saying, is interpreting this thing as dangerous. And this is frustrating for us humans up here in our thinking center because we're like, there's nothing dangerous going on. Get with the program. And but your survival system doesn't care and it doesn't take direction from you because its job is bigger than you as far as it's concerned. And so it's going to take it's listening to other things and it's taking direction from other parts of the brain and your body. And so what happens there is that whatever your brain, your survival system deems or interprets as dangerous, it's going to react. Okay. So let's talk about that. Okay. So, because what was it? That's really the trick here. The trick in resolving these problems and getting into being able to do the activities to create your dream, you've got to clear out whatever your brain thinks is dangerous along the way from point A to point B. Point A is where you are right now, and point B is you have achieved the dream, right? Now, there are many, many, many things in here that are going on, and I'm going to talk to you about those because these things could be interpreted as dangerous to your brain. And they are. If you're having to be rerouted into coping and rerouted into surviving, then something in there is setting your brain off. So, what happens in here is to get from point A, where you are now, to point B, living your dream life, living in the dream created, is there are lots of thoughts that happen. There are tons of thoughts. There are tons of feelings. There are tons of memories. There are tons of association. There are tons of subconscious programmings. There are tons of reaction responses that served you really, really well when you were little, but are now creating dysfunction. They haven't been upgraded yet. And so you try them out, you try that function out, and it just doesn't quite work. And then there's flashbacks. Our brain is constantly associating with past memories. If you've got past memories in there that are painful and that haven't been resolved or pulled through the healing pathways, then what happens when those are touched, pain comes out and your survival system says, this is dangerous. Don't touch that memory. But in order to get from here to here, you have to go through all of the memories associated with this. And you have to go through all of the programming, all of the thoughts, all of the emotions while still staying in the prefrontal cortex, front part of your brain, because that's the part of the brain that's creative, that solves problems, that does all that stuff. But what happens is if you go from where you're at now and you start moving here, I'm using the right hand, and you start moving towards it and you run into something that's dangerous, you're shifted out of your thinking center into survival mode. And now you're into a survival strategy to stay alive instead, and you're over here surviving instead of working towards your dream. Does that make sense? And that's really, really frustrating. That's really, really frustrating because you didn't choose to be over here. You just got rerouted over here in survival land. And over here, you're trying to get over here to dreamland. And they just don't meet ever. Because you can't get to the dream from survival, because the survival part of your brain does not do dream creation or dream realization. It doesn't. It does survival. And so the part of the brain that does dream creation and dream realization is right up here. And if you look at brains under MRI, when they're experiencing a memory that has not been fully processed, it is functioning totally different. And the parts of the survival center in the brain is very much lit up. They are using the survival part of the brain. If you are looking at a brain of somebody who is in a creative space, a problem solving space, relaxed and regulated, their brain is functioning entirely different. And the prefrontal cortex is very much lit up. It's beautiful. I mean, there's balance all over the brain. It's fabulous. You should see those pictures. I should show them sometime. Um, but when you're trying to work on your dream from your survival center, you can't get there. It doesn't even have access to the right things to make your dream happen. And as a matter of fact, the more you're spending in survival mode, the more your system, your body, your mind is being drained, and you'll find yourself exhausted and not able to sleep and drained. And this is when you'll find symptoms of depression showing up. This and so that is, I think you're picking up what I'm putting down. And so it's like, so this is what I do. Let me tell you how to solve this problem. We can let's see how I want to say this. We can bring your survival system's interpretations of everyday thoughts, events, memories, feelings, sensations in your body up to date and accurate. And this means, and when we do that, it can accurately interpret whether this is dangerous or not. Okay? And that means that we have to do some work to influence this part of the brain to accept a new program, and accept a new survival response manual. That I'm trying to play here with this. We want to take what the response is it's currently having, and we want to get your brain to say, hey, I don't think we need this anymore. I don't think this is that dangerous. And what we do to do that is we work with all parts of the brain to do that process. And one really, really wonderful way to do this is to use an intervention like emotional freedom techniques or thought filled therapy or EMDR or energy medicine. And you can use these interventions to help your brain work together to do its function normally and naturally, to elevate it, upgrade it, and change the program. And once it goes through that process, this part of your survival center just gets upgraded. It's like, oh, that's not dangerous. It was dangerous, but it's not now. It might not even do that. It might not even say it was. I don't even know. It doesn't even have a memory, that part of the brain. It's not. Maybe it is. Anyway, maybe it does have that conversation. But the point of the matter is that it starts responding differently. So let's say you have a thought, or maybe it's a memory. Maybe you had a memory, just a parent or somebody important to you made a comment that, oh, you're never going to make any money about with that dream. So you can use that as your side project. But what do you really want to be, right? So instead of that, when that thought comes in, we're going to reprocess that thought, because that thought is like, oh, what? Like your brain is like, I don't even know what to do with this. And I'm going to tell you something. Um, that this thought creates a lot of, like, it's like mowing over a big rock in your garden, in your yard, right? You can keep mowing, but come, right? It's like it's a rock and it's not good, right? And so, but your survival system says, ha, there's a rock right there. And then it learns to go around the rock, right? And that's what I'm talking about. And sometimes when we're doing that, the around the rock means distraction. Okay, so we're going to come back in here. And also, that rock is like internal conflict, right? It's like, they said this, but I don't believe that. This is how it works. But your brain is like, I don't know what to do with this because mom said this, and this is what I really think, and here. And so, this process, if it doesn't resolve, it stays in there like this. And every time you run into it, your brain's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to, And that process can go on and on and on and on and on. And it's a taxing, dysfunctional process that your inner healer is doing at lightning speed over and over and over and over again. And your survival system comes in and is like, what the heck are you doing with this whole thing you're doing? You're sucking up all the energy and juice, and it's not even working. And so it says, stop, we're not doing that. Go. Go eat that ice cream. And next thing you know, you're off and eating ice cream. You didn't know why you got there. But your inner healer is like, your survival center is like, I gotta break that fight up. That was ridiculous. We got things to do, which it sent you over to do something where you're going to survive, but not actually get your things done. But it's watching, making sure that the body's resources are being handled properly, and it can't just be sucked up by all these racing thoughts and all this inner conflict and this shame, guilt, shame, guilt, shame, guilt that goes on with that little thing. That's too much. And so it says, no, you're done. Stop, reroute, go scroll on Facebook. Go play your Sudoku game, your Blossom Blast little app. Go, go, go. And the next thing you know, you're training for Sudoku like it's the world championships. And you're scrolling on Facebook for your third hour, and you don't even know what you're doing on there. And then you come up and it's too late, and now you screwed up your whole schedule and you got a whole problem. But it was really all in there because you came upon internal conflict that was not resolved and did not get resolved. Okay. So let's go back and tell you how to solve this. Okay. So, what you want to do is, since we just ran over that rock, you want to stop your motor, right? And go back and say, where, I think I hit a rock, and go look for the rock, grab it up, and then this is a thought rock, right? And we want to take this and we want to move it through the healing pathways. We want to move it from your memory places into all the things that the moving it does. It really converts it and translates it. It's beautiful. I could nerd out about that for a really long time with you. But and it lands up in here where your thinking center is just thought. It's not just thought, but it combines with your thought. And it's all this information, this emotional data that's now translated, and your inner healer is like, ooh, I've been looking for this, and it's coded it just like I love it, and now I know what to do with it. I'm going to send this over here. Oh, I'm getting rid of that, and I'm going to reorganize this like this. And your inner healer right here actually rewrites the code for your survival system. And so when by the time she's done, she's like, I'm sure it's a her. She's like, everybody, look what I saw, look what I found, and she will tell your survival system the new code and why it's not dangerous and how it is. But she'll do it in a way that your survival system is like totally gets and responds to, and it will begin operating with that new program, so that anytime that inner conflict comes up, it's already been resolved. It's not just two separate things. It's now a conglomeration of something amazing that your brain uses to function and to reach its goals and to live well. And so it might even turn out something like, well, people feel that way, but they're not always right. And it's very logical at this point. And it's like when your brain comes and you mow over it, it's just like regular grass, right? Instead of like a big crunkled up thing. And you see what I'm saying? And let me tell you, that one thing in the path from here, where you are now, to your dream life, there are many of those. And the trick really is to find them and resolve them, because we want the pathway here not only to be clear, we want it to be in your subconscious, like deep, so that's like they're like, it's like how you're finding yourself derailed all the time. We want you to find yourself just working naturally to achieving the goal. It's easy peasy, right? And this is really interesting because that's my goal. I mean, when people are working on their goal, I'm looking at the subconscious programming, the survival responses. Um, I want this thing to run smoothly. What they want is to be able to achieve the dream. And so, but as we work on this process, we're working on everything that we can do it. And then my clients tell me, like, I did something I never thought I would do before. I did this. I said this. I was able to do that. And I'm like, yes. And of course, because we resolved the internal conflict. It's like they have this car that had it was they were driving on this messed up road that didn't even have road in some places. And then the roads like looped and they'd get on that thing and loop for a while. And then they'd kind of get back on and not really, and then they'd loop out and be moving in the other direction, right? And it's just like it's just so much harder when your internal, when your subconscious programming is not lined up, when your survival system, like, right, it's like these parts of the brains will work like in totally different directions and not cooperate. It's hard to accomplish your dream like that. It's very hard. And subconsciously and in your survival state, it's a to me, it's a no-brainer. And it has nothing to do with you and how much you want the dream and how hard you're working for the dream. It has set up the truth is that your subconscious mind is set up to lead you to, not your subconscious, your mental function. We need to give this a name. Your dream, your lifelong dream accomplishing program is malfunctioning. And we need to take that to the repair shop and get this function, this program functioning. And your brain really will do that. And there are some really wonderful ways to get your brain to do that, and you just need to do it. And this process really unlocks so many things for you. It actually eliminates symptoms of anxiety, depression, traumatic stress. It eliminates those that internal conflict or just the dysfunctional distractions. It really will help you get where you want to go and get your dream life created. And yeah, so, and that's really the fun part for me. I mean, I love helping people break through their symptoms, but really that's the easy part. um, Getting them, helping them to be able to do what they want to do and be who they want to be in the world and have what they want to have in the world, that's the fun part. And so, anyway, that's really what I want to share. I invite you to ask me any questions that you have coming up. I'm going to tell you a couple things. Oh, I don't think this is good. I um how you work through, really we how we work through the process of resolving, getting the brain to resolve the program, the dream realization program operation, um, is really, we really find the rocks in the road, and we really find the places where there is no road, and we find the moments where the off ramps that lead to distractionville and reroutingville, and we really pay attention to those areas. We really gather as much data as we can about this, And we really use an intervention. And I'm using emotional freedom techniques because it's the easiest to learn and the fastest. And then and as you're doing that, you're there's so much going on in your brain when you're doing an intervention while paying attention to the problem, but you're helping your brain look at it and process it and really help it move through its natural process of healing and recreating and upgrading and aligning and just building what you need to accomplish that. That's its job. Its job is to, you want to go do that? Okay, let's everybody this we need to make a program for that. She wants to do this. That's its job, and it's really good at it. And it can really this is we have to help it out sometimes. And so we do that with an intervention. And so the more that you do this, the more rocks you find along the road, and the more you get it processed, the more you get your brain to lay that out nicely for you, you really have a nice path from A to B, and you can roller skate on it. And you can do tricks on it, as opposed to right now, it's all funky and you don't know if you're going to get lost, and and be careful because you might start, Facebooking, and all these things, and but make sure you don't go over there because they're going to say that thing to you that's going to send you into a week of distress, and you're going to lose that time, you're not going to be able to do this, and okay, all right, but oh man, if that memory comes up over here when we're there, so we can't do that, right? That's really what I find in people's inner world when they are, when they're women who are, they have all the education, they have all the training, they have all the expertise, they have everything they need for their dream, right? And we're just like, what the heck? And they're just like, what the heck? I'm not. I'm like, I know. I've had one of those brains. And so and so that's really really what's in there. And so I really want you to understand this is not your fault. It's just not your fault. And there is a solution to this. And it's quick, especially if you already have all the skills and talents and everything's already built up. You just need to like get out of your own way. It's a very short thing at the right pace, right? And just get in there and do that work. And if this is something you want my help with to accomplish, to ensure that you really get that outcome, then you oh, I'm getting bumped. We can discuss that. Send me a direct message. I have sent in. I put on here a link to my 8-week intensive program that helps people get from point A to their dream, where you are right now to your dream, and it's really about everything I'm talking about and more. I also teach how to resolve the emotional wounds. I also teach how to, um, oh goodness, what else do I teach? How to activate and liberate your boundaries. Many people don't know that they need them on their or how to get them, and they're already in there. We just need to unpack them and assemble them, or uncover them from all the brain trash stuck on top of it. Um, and also just helping you identify what those challenges are to stopping you from realizing your dream, making it happen, not just sitting on the sidelines anymore. And so, if that's something you want my help with, you can click there and you can go straight to the information about that. Also, if you want to get access to a handout that teaches 3 of my favorite interventions that help with this process, you can join my email list, and that link is right there, and you will get that in the first email. And then you can do what you want. You can unsubscribe, you can stay with me and hang out. Each email I have in there is really ideas, tips, and tricks on how to use these strategies, to get to bring in the nice, smoothed out, to resolve problems and to eliminate challenges that stand in your way. So yeah, that's really it from me. And I'm not seeing. I might have notes here. I'm not seeing any comments. So I think that I will just jump off. Thanks for playing with me today in this, and learning, and yeah, good luck on that dream. I'm going to be talking about that a lot, because I find that, um, that's my fun space. So, and it's really, like I said, I love helping people eliminate symptoms out of their life of anxiety and depression, traumatic stress. Um, but it's really, really, really cool when they can actually, it's so fulfilling when they can do the thing that they've always wanted to do and that they felt that they really needed to do. Whether it was, be the kind of mom they've been wanting to be, or maybe it was become um, like a celebrated musician or artist, or um, a business owner, or start their business, or some people, it's been they wanted to be able to eat differently. They wanted to be able to relate differently. They wanted to be able to be a wife that feels like an equal partner, as opposed to somebody who it feels like a drain on the system that has to be comforted all the time, right? And so that when people start showing up as, I did this with my husband, I did this with my children, I was able to make that painting, I wrote a song, I'm starting to take all my face shots, my profile shots for my business, for my new album, for my I was able to pause with my kids and really use my skills and not just keep screaming and flying off the handle like I don't even know who that lady was, you know? Um, and when they're able to start really being who they're meant to be and accomplishing the things that they're able to accomplish after years and years of trying, it's just magical to me. So that's what I'm going to be talking about a lot. So yeah, I will see you all later and take care.